What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Charles Oliveira will beat Islam Makhachev according to Dustin Poirier. Although Islam Makhachev picked up a dominant win over Charles Oliveira the first time the two met inside the octagon, Oliveira has maintained that he simply had an off night and the result will be different the second time around, with Dana White recently stating that Makhachev vs Oliveira 2 will likely take place next summer. The MMA community has been sharing predictions for this fight, with Dustin Poirier of the mindset that Du Bronx can get the job done. During a recent interview with MMA Junkie, the former interim champ spoke about the situation.
If Oliveira's mindset is in it, if he's the same guy who fought me, who fought Chandler, I think he can win that fight. You know, I don't think he wanted to fight in that title fight. He looked like he didn't want to be there. You know, he quit on himself, it looked like. That's what my opinion. But I know personally he has the skills to beat the best guys in the world, and he has done that time and time again. It's just, if he goes in there with his mindset locked in, ready to go, I think he can beat him.
While the UFC have yet to announce when Poirier will return to action, he did state that he wants to compete on the UFC 300 card next year, meaning a fight announcement could be on the horizon. The big question is, who will his opponent be? Next up, let's take a look at Conor McGregor reveals bad news. With Conor McGregor's return targeted for the new year, the expectation has been that he and Michael Chandler will likely compete at UFC 300. According to McGregor and SBG Ireland head coach John Kavanagh, that is no longer the case. During an appearance on the MMA Hour, Kavanagh revealed that McGregor was hoping for a return in April. However, based on Dana White's comments after UFC 295, the UFC is pushing the targeted return date back to the summer, leading many to believe that McGregor could headline the International Fight Week card. As Kavanagh explained,
"Yeah, okay, it's a knockback if we're hearing it was April, but now it's July, but it's not the end of the world. You know, it is an extra couple of months. It's not great, but hey, you're enjoying your training at the moment. Let's just keep that going." But it is like the sport. You are around for such a short time, as compared to, well, I'm not going to try and make a comparison to other sports or whatever, but like, you know, like a career, our careers, we can do this for decades.
Right.
For fighters, it is a short time. And I heard
McGregor has played his cards close to the vest since the news broke, simply posting several photos of the training session along with the caption, "I'll be back." With John Jones injured, Israel Adesanya on hiatus, and Conor McGregor being targeted for a summer return, it'll be interesting to see how the UFC rounds out the historic UFC 300 card. Next up, let's take a look at Leon Edwards reveals shocking news. Ahead of Leon Edwards' scheduled UFC 296 title defense against Colby Covington, the welterweight champ has announced his plans to make the move up to 185 pounds in pursuit of champ status, should he emerge victorious. Speaking in an interview with Sky Sports, Edwards revealed that he would like to fight the winner of Sean Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis, who will compete in the new year.
I feel, especially with someone like Strickland, and I think he's fighting du Plessis. Soon, so any of them two would be great to fight, you know. So I'm big myself, so I feel
you're
like,
not small.
Yeah, I feel like that would be perfect.
The situation was quick to catch the attention of the MMA community, with Combat Sports UK's Lewis Glover weighing in, writing, "I'd love to see it one day, but he needs to earn it. Shavkat will earn his shot after he runs through Wonderboy. 2 title defense isn't enough to go up to 185. Once you clean out the division, then it's time to talk double champ." Many other fans were quick to wonder what his plan means for Belal Muhammad, with one fan writing, "Belal or Shavkat next? Can't defend your belt twice and then claim there's no comp when you haven't even cleared out the top 5. Another weighed in writing, "I like Leon, but I simply can't defend his inactivity. The UFC doesn't care for him as a champ and won't give him the opportunity. The UFC wants Colby to be the champ because he promotes himself and can sell. I can't say the same about Leon. Leon still sparks Colby though." Others suggested that Edwards' latest call-out at 185 pounds is indicative of a larger problem currently plaguing the UFC, with every champion eager to achieve champ status. One fan wrote, "I like Leon, but it's getting annoying that everyone immediately wants to move up and try for double champ. Should be a privilege reserved for those who've completely cleaned out their own division." While another agreed, writing, "The UFC is in such a weird spot where every champ thinks they deserve a shot at the belt above them. I think they should implement a rule that you have to defend your own belt at least 3 times in order to challenge up. Simultaneous double champ status needs to be harder to obtain." Of course, the UFC has the final say when it comes to which champions get the opportunity to move up or down in pursuit of champ status. With that in mind, how Edwards' upcoming clash against Colby Covington plays out will likely decide how the UFC handles his title reign going forward. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at UFC fight updates. On the heels of an action-packed night of fights in New York last weekend, let's take a look at today's UFC fight updates, heading into this weekend's UFC Fight Night Allen vs. Craig card at the Apex. While the card was expected to play host to a clash between Cesar Almeida and Christian Leroy Duncan, Almeida has been forced out of the fight due to a medical issue that will require surgery. Given the fact that the card is just days away, the UFC won't be searching for a replacement opponent on short notice for Duncan. This week also saw exciting news surface regarding the highly anticipated rematch between Magomed Ankalaev and Johnny Walker. After an illegal blow saw their UFC 294 scrap controversially called off, the two men will now run it back at UFC Vegas 83 on January 13th in a main event showdown, according to SBG Ireland's John Kavanagh, who announced the bout on the MMA Hour.
January 13th. And they actually wanted to do it even earlier. There was talk of the card in China. Obviously, the December 16 card is very stacked. I felt this was just the right amount of time.
With both men eager to settle their feud, the event will surely kick off the new year with a bang. Next, let's take a look at Tom Aspinall sends message to the UFC. While traditionally, interim champions get the chance to fight the undisputed champion in a title unification bout when the champion is ready to return, that won't be the case for Tom Aspinall. After Jon Jones was forced out of his scheduled clash with Stipe Miocic at UFC 295, Dana White was quick to indicate that after Jones recovers, he and Miocic will fight for the heavyweight title, rather than Jones fighting Aspinall in a title eliminator. After the biggest win of his professional career, Aspinall feels as though many fans don't want to wait a year to see Jones and Miocic fight while he sits on the sidelines. Speaking on an episode of the MMA Hour this week, the newly minted interim champ spoke about the situation.
And I feel like the shine of that fight has kind of gone. I don't know how anybody else feels about that, but I feel like now they need to make either me and Jon Jones or me and Stipe, because, like, say, what's kind of the point in the other stuff? Like, let's move forward. Let me fight one of the legends now, and let me move forward with my career, as opposed to doing this other stuff and waiting around. And
although Aspinall has expressed a desire to defend the interim title rather than sit on the sidelines to see how Jones versus Miocic plays out, he may not get his wish. In the meantime, opening odds have emerged for a potential Jones versus Aspinall title unification fight, with Jones opening as a -140 favorite to Aspinall's +120 underdog status on betonline.ag. Next, let's take a look at Sean O'Malley reacts to Chito Vera face-off. After the announcement of their highly anticipated rematch at UFC 299, Sugar Sean O'Malley and Chito Vera faced off with one another last week in a clip that was quick to go viral. With the bad blood alive and well between the two stemming from their UFC 252 fight, the bout has continued to capture the attention of the MMA community, with many fans divided in their predictions. With many confident that O'Malley can avenge the lone loss on his record, and others, like Henry Cejudo, confident that Vera can once again emerge victorious, it's safe to say that the fight will kick off the first quarter of 2024 in a big way. Speaking on a recent episode of the Timbo Sugar Show, O'Malley reflected on the stare down.
How'd you feel looking into his eyes again?
Well, it wasn't that one wandering one wasn't wandering as bad, because I wanted to say a wandering comment, but I'm like, damn, those eyes are looking pretty straight, which usually one's off to the left. But he has some weird, I don't know what it is. He got some weird going on in there. But he said, look deeper into my eyes, daddy. I was like, what the Yeah, that was weird as hell.
So far, the UFC has yet to announce the location of the event, with many theorizing that the UFC could hold the card in Arizona to capitalize on O'Malley's star power. However, so far, the promotional brass has remained tight-lipped on the situation. Next, let's take a look at MMA community concern for Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson will attempt to snap his 6-fight losing streak at UFC 296 when he clashes with streaking Scouser, Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. Ahead of the bout, El Cucuy has switched things up and joined former Navy SEAL David Goggins for Hell Week to help himself prepare. The way many of his peers see things, El Cucuy needs to work smarter, not harder. Rafael Dos Anjos took to social media to share his thoughts on the situation, writing, I see Tony Ferguson's workouts with David Goggins. Those long workouts will not help Tony's condition. They will slow him down. It could help him with some mental strength, but Tony doesn't need that. He's very strong mentally. Chael Sonnen agreed, writing in part, I saw it too. Thought the same thing. It's helpful. Goggins had a positive effect, but Tony only has a certain amount of energy and needs to be wise. The criticism didn't sit well with Goggins, who fired back in a video where he insisted the 8 hours of sleep El Cucuy got at night was enough. Those comments caught the attention of Sugar Sean O'Malley on the Timbo Sugar Show.
I don't know if that kind of training is going to help you in a fight. Let's run 20 miles on the treadmill and then let's go hit a circuit. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be beneficial for him at this point, but hey, there's only one way to find out.
Paddy the Baddy also weighed in during an interview with ESPN MMA, saying the style of training is outdated.
Yeah, I think it's just crazy. It's wild. You know what I mean? That's like what people used to do in 1998 when we was on like UFC 41. You know what I mean? Like, that's just completely irrelevant nowadays, training like that. Like, you can tell by the look on Tony's face that it's hurting him. I think he's going to be overtrained coming into this fight, and it's going to be even easier for me to finish him because he's been doing this now week with Goggins.
With the fight just over a month away, it'll be interesting to see if Ferguson can return to the win column after the change in approach to training. Dana White Contender Series fighter Chad Hannacom was suspended for 9 months after he tested positive for before his fight at the UFC Apex on September 5th. He won't be cleared to fight again until after June 5th, 2024. Top comments. Alex Pereira is my hero. I love how he acknowledged Izzy's influence on his success, but Izzy talking bad about him is one of many reasons he's losing and lost so many fans. Man, I lost a lot of respect for Izzy with how he's acting towards Alex winning and calling him out. Alex is literally handing him an opportunity on a silver platter, and he's being a complete douchebag. Disrespecting the new champ by putting Hill's name up when he's talking, it's a shame. Can't believe Jamal Hill took credit for Aspinall's win. Conor going off on anyone for steroids is hilarious. Make sure to leave a comment and you might get featured in our next video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss any MMA news. Check out our video from yesterday if you missed it. See you tomorrow.